I used to work nights as a security guard for a small, run-down cemetery on the outskirts of a rural town. It was boring, but it paid the bills. The place didn't even have cameras, just me, a flashlight, and an old truck to drive around the grounds every couple hours. I'd been doing this for months with no problem, until one night I saw someone walking between the headstones. They had no flashlight, no phone light, just moving in the dark. I stopped the truck and got out, calling out to them, but they didn't respond. I figured it was some drunk or a kid playing around. As I got closer, I realized the figure was wrong. Tall, way too tall, with limbs just a little too long. It wasn't wearing clothes, but its body was a dark, ashy gray. When I shined the flashlight directly at it, it stopped and turned to face me. But the light didn't seem to reflect off its skin. It was like the beam was just being absorbed. I couldn't even make out a face, just darkness. I froze. Every part of me told me to run, but my legs wouldn't work. Then it let out this sound. Not a growl, not a scream, but like static, loud and vibrating in my skull. My flashlight flickered and died. That snapped me out of it. I bolted back to the truck, barely making it inside before I heard heavy footsteps behind me. I slammed the door, started the engine, and floored it. I didn't see it in the mirrors, but I felt it. Something keeping pace with the truck just beyond the darkness. I drove straight home that night and never went back. I quit the next morning. The weird thing? A couple weeks later, I read that the cemetery had closed down. Maintenance issues, they said. But then I found a local forum post. Apparently 3 different guards before me had quit too, and one of them, they never even made it home. My friends and I were dumb, bored teens in a small town with nothing to do, so of course we'd hang out at the local graveyard at night. It was one of those super old cemeteries where the graves are all weathered, some from the 1800s. It had these huge angel statues and crumbling crypts. It looked like something out of a horror movie. One night, my friend Jason dared me to lay down on this one particular grave, an unmarked one. No headstone, just a sunken patch of grass. They all egged me on, so I did it. At first, nothing happened. I was just lying there, trying not to get grossed out by the damp ground. But then, I heard something. A whisper. At first, I thought it was my friend screwing with me. But the whisper was coming from beneath me. It was faint, but I could hear it, just barely. A voice saying my name, over and over. My friends had gone silent too, watching me with wide eyes. I asked them if they heard it, and they all nodded, pale as hell. Then I felt pressure, like something was pushing up from under the ground. I shot up and backed away, and the moment I did, the dirt where I had been laying, it shifted, like something was trying to reach the surface. We bolted. None of us wanted to find out what was under there. The next day I went back during daylight. The grave was just as it had been, sunken, but undisturbed. Except now there were faint handprints in the dirt. We never went back after that, but sometimes when I'm alone and it's dead quiet, I swear I still hear that whisper, calling my name, like something followed me home that night. I used to help my uncle with his groundskeeping job at a really old cemetery when I was 19. Mostly landscaping stuff, but occasionally we had to clean the old mausoleums, those creepy stone buildings with family crypts inside. There was one mausoleum that nobody ever visited. The gates were rusted shut, but my uncle had the keys. One day, he told me to go inside and clear out some fallen debris while he mowed nearby. The air inside was stale, smelled like dirt and old stone. It was a small room, lined with dusty plaques. I was sweeping when I heard a soft giggle. I froze. It was distinctly a little girl's voice, but when I turned, there was no one. I told myself it was just the wind through the cracks. Then I heard it again, closer. This time, it whispered, "Play with me." I turned, and standing in the back corner in the shadows was a little girl. Pale skin, dark hair, an old-fashioned dress. She just stood there, head tilted. I backed toward the door, but she stepped forward, still smiling. I tried to run, but I tripped. As I scrambled up, I swear she was suddenly just inches from my face. Her eyes were black, completely black. She whispered again, "Play with me, forever." I don't remember getting out. My uncle says I came running out of there screaming. I don't even remember doing that. A few weeks later, the mausoleum collapsed in a storm. When they cleared the rubble, they found something weird. Beneath the stones, they uncovered a tiny coffin that hadn't been listed in any of the cemetery records. The coffin was open, empty. I don't help my uncle anymore, and I stay far away from any mausoleums now, because I still sometimes hear a little girl's voice, giggling when I'm alone. I work for a small landscaping company, and last summer we got hired to clean up an old cemetery that had been neglected for decades. Overgrown weeds, crumbling stones, the works. It wasn't exactly fun, but it was peaceful enough. On my second day there, I noticed this man just standing by one of the headstones. He looked about mid-40s, clean clothes, nothing weird about him, except he just stood there, not moving, not looking at anything, just staring straight ahead. I assumed he was visiting a grave, so I didn't think much of it. But after a couple hours, he was still there. Same spot, same posture. I mentioned it to my coworker, and he looked over and said, "What, man?" I pointed, confused, but by the time I turned back, he was gone. It messed with my head, but I shrugged it off. Maybe I imagined it. The next day, he was there again, same spot, same headstone. This time he was looking down at the grave like he was reading it. But here's the thing. I'd already cleaned that area the day before. I remembered that specific stone because it was cracked down the middle and the name was worn away. But when I got closer, the man didn't even glance at me. He just kept staring. I didn't say anything. I just walked past, pretending not to care. When I got back to the truck for a water break, I looked back toward the area, and there was no one there. I asked my coworker again if he saw the guy. He just laughed and said, "You keep talking about this dude, but I never see anyone." That was the last time I saw him, at least there. A couple weeks after that job, I was at a gas station in town when I saw the same man, just standing by the ice machine, staring at me. Same clothes, same blank expression. When I did a double take, he was gone. I tried Googling local urban legends or obituaries, thinking maybe I'd find a connection, but nothing. I still don't know if it was a ghost, a hallucination, or some real person screwing with me. But sometimes when I wake up at night, I get the sick feeling that if I looked out my window, he'd be standing there, just staring. And I don't think I'd survive seeing him a third time.